Not gonna lie, the only reason I made this video is so I can show off my avatar drip. You see it? Quit playing with the kid. You see how it is. You know what TF going on. What's up, y'all? So, last time, I made a video about how the Netflix Avatar show was about to come out. They just dropped a trailer, and I talked about a lot of red flags that that I saw from the trailer and from interviews that showrunners and actors had given in anticipation for the show. Well, the first season is out now. It's fully out. You can go watch it on Netflix right now. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I was right. Now, first things first, I feel like it wouldn't be fair for me to tear into the show without at least first mentioning the stuff I like. Um, the main thing I like was the little additions that they had to the story, like Luten's funeral or the Ozai assassination plot. Little stuff like that that adds a little bit more juice to the story. You know, that's the stuff we just didn't get to see in the original series, and I think it's very welcome here. All right, now let's get into it. Number one, I did not like the pacing of the show at all. It just feels off, especially when you compare it to the original show. It feels like we're hitting plot point after plot point after plot point after plot point. And while it is hitting all the major plot points that the original series had, it's missing all the fun moments we had in between that made the show a show. It just feels like they're not giving the show enough time to breathe and come into its own. That goes into my next problem with the show, the way the characters are characterized. In the original series, Aang is just this kid who woke up in another world, and at first he's low key in denial about what's going on in the serious state of the world, and eventually he turns into this serious, not necessarily stoic, but I get, for lack of a better word, more stoic character. By the end of it, you see his character grow, and here he's pretty much that character from the beginning. I mean, if you go back to if you go to watch season 3 of the cartoon, season 1 of the Netflix show, that Aang is way more serious than season 3, and season 3 is when it got real. This is part of what I was talking about in the last video about the show. Aang growing up and becoming more serious is that is his character development. That is his overarching thing. If he already has that at the beginning, what character development are we going to see from Aang going on? And apart from stuff like that, I already touched on the Sokka stuff. I already touched on the Katara stuff. It's more of the same stuff, more of the same points. I'm not going to keep going over and over again. Even side characters are getting that work. Grand and King Boomy are basically just big monologue machines the entire show. If this show gets a second season, they really need to get somebody who's better at writing dialogue, because everything is just exposition. And that's probably just my main gripe with this show. The fact that they try to take all the fun and silly stuff out of it when that's what made the original show so great. And you'll have people who like that, and that's fine if you like it. But don't sit here and try to pretend like it's better because they took out all the fun stuff. That's what made the characters shine through. It's like, oh, it was so childish and whatever. Yeah, they're children. Like, the oldest people in the gang are probably like Sokka or Zuko, and they're no older than like 16. And if you're just gonna take out all the childish moments that happen in the show, all the funny little quote unquote immature moments that happen in the show, then what's the point of even having child actors? You may as well just age them all up and make them all adults if you're just gonna have adult themes the entire time. Like, you're taking out what makes them being children relevant to the plot, so why have them be children at all? Because really, from the way Aang and everybody else acts, Aang could be 25 and the story would not change at all. And you know what? I almost would forgive it if they did age up the actors, because then at least you could go full in on the dark and gritty parts of them going through war that you just can't really do with kids. But they're not doing that. They just took out all the fun stuff and didn't add anything in to replace it. Aang in the cartoon, and Aang in the live action, the only thing they have similar is that their name is Aang, and the similarities pretty much end right there. And it's almost like the writers didn't have like any confidence in the stuff they were writing. If you go watch the first episode, they go re-explain what the Avatar is like 10 times in the first 20 minutes of the show. Whereas in the original show, they only needed the 30 seconds in the intro to really explain what the Avatar was. And they wrote so many monologues that apparently they couldn't fit in all the original plot points of the first season. Like, in the original cartoon, the seasons are called books, and book 1, or season 1, is called Water. Aang doesn't even learn how to water bend. Like, he doesn't even master it by the end of the season. He barely even does it. I don't think he does it. I don't think I don't remember him doing it at all during the Netflix show at all. You know, people will say that media literacy is dead, And it's times like this when like shows like this come out that I really think I really think it's like it's dead. In the original show, they did things way different. Like in the Netflix show, if you look at it, it's very clear that Ozai is like kind of trying to pit Azula and Zuko against each other. In the Netflix show, that's painfully obvious. It was obvious in the original show too, but they didn't really have to say anything. They just showed it, and that's the main thing. They just tell you everything. Everything is exposition. Everything is shown, is shoved right into your face, and there's no subtlety. There's no context to read into. There's no nothing. You just it's just pushed in your face. Like we all know in the show, eventually Azula goes and loses her mind and goes crazy, right? And it feels like they're trying to kind of lean into it way too much in the first season. Like we're just now seeing her in the show in the cartoon. When we first saw Azula, she was very confident and she seemed always in control of her emotions and what she was doing. In the Netflix show, it's already seeming like she's kind of teetering towards the crazy side. It's like in the cartoon, Ozai is a very abusive father, and it's not like they shy away from showing that. It's very clear. But the way he handled Azula and Zuko was two very different forms of abuse. They show that very clearly in the show. They don't ever directly say it, but you don't have to. But it doesn't have to be directly said because it's shown so well. But in the Netflix show, they're just kind of throwing it in your face that Ozai is abusive, and it's kind of breeded this like I don't know, this community of people that seem to think Azula um, is like somehow a good person, and just like it's like oh she was just abused like Zuko was, but that's the whole point in the original show is she wasn't abused like Zuko was. In the original show, it's shown without saying it. It's shown that not everybody in the Fire Nation is evil and believes in the stuff that Ozai and the royal family does. Right? It shows not everybody in every nation is a monolith. You know, you have fire people in the Fire Nation that are good. You have people in the in the Earth Kingdom that are bad and terrible. But in the Netflix show, it just makes it seem like everything is so black and white, and there's no nuance to anything. Like we are the good guys, these are the bad guys. Choose a side and that's it. There's no in between, and that's like one of the worst things they took from the original show. When it comes to showing versus telling, they're gonna choose tell 11 out of 10 times. And it feels like they're just trying to shoehorn as many characters into the first season as possible. Like, why are May and Ty Lee there when Azula is doing her demonstration? Do they really need to do that, or are they just doing that so people are like, hey, I know those two people? Yeah, this show gets a second season. I wouldn't be surprised if it does get a second season because Avatar is such a popular title. But if it does get a second season, they really need to just scrap the whole writing team, hire a new writing team, maybe hire a new director, maybe try to get the original creators back in, and also new costume designers. Like I don't know, like I read somewhere that it costs like $10 to $15 million per episode. I don't know where that money's going, but somebody is skimming from the top because these costumes, like the Water Tribe costumes, look terrible. Uh, by this point, you've probably seen all the Yue memes for her headdress. I just don't get how you can make the writing be so bad for something that's already been written. Like, I've been seeing a lot of stuff people have been saying, basically what I'm saying, and a lot of people are snapping back talking about, oh, you think they should just follow the original show one by one? What's the point for that? I'm not saying that. They should not do that. But I'm saying is, you could at least look, look at the original show and and like take some steps that they took. You know what I mean? Like you can tell in some parts that the budget was running out. Like at one point they just Zuko and Zhao stop firebending and they just go straight to throwing blows, bro. It's like what? But if I had to put it in simple terms, it feels like the Netflix adaptation season 1 is like season 8 of Game of Thrones, whereas the original series was like seasons 1 through 5. You know what of Game of Thrones? You know what I mean? Like it just fell off. They made changes, and hardly any of them were good, if any at all. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I just finished watching it last night, so all these thoughts are kind of still jumbled in my head. I didn't want to wait too long after the show dropped to. I didn't want to wait too long after the show dropped to give you guys this follow-up video. Yeah. So I feel kind of vindicated. I feel like I was right. There were a couple people in my comments on the last video being like, "Oh, let the show come out. Stop judging stuff based on what you see about it. You want this show to flop so bad." Oh well. You can feel how you feel about it. If you like the show, good. More power to you. I hope you continue to like it. It's just like that shit's ass. All right. All right, y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment, all that good stuff. Yeah. Follow me on Insta. Follow me on. You see all the stuff right there. So, yeah. Peace.
If I had stolen home, I'd have been the hero. Instead, I'm the goat.
Different day, same old shit. Count money, count what? You ain't gang, then you funny, then what? Got the thing